Alright guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'll be discussing Liverpool with two die-hard fans. So many things are happening with the team, so many abysmal performances, and we're going to be hearing from them. Any, in one word, just describe your performance to Liverpool, your team.
Inconsistent.
Disappointing.
Many fans are saying with the recent performance of Liverpool, it's high time that Klopp left the club for another coach to come in. But we've seen him bounce back over the years. We've seen him use this team to even get to winning a quadruple. He was so close. And for me, he's not that such a bad coach. So what do you think? Is it time for Klopp to exit the club and the team try a new coach? Or you think somehow he's going to pull through like he's done in previous seasons? Jimmy?
I think you know my stand towards Klopp. Is every time we got a new coach. That is the simple truth. If you look at the team and the performance of the season so far, that team is not that bad to be losing such games. Games like Nottingham Forest and then against Leeds United. Klopp is just a stubborn and sentimental coach. That is what is killing him. You are doing something and it's not working. You are still doing the same thing. Take for instance this boy, what is his name? Elliot. What is Elliot still doing in the team? He offers nothing going forward. He offers nothing in terms of marking or helping out the defense. I think that is one of the major reasons why Klopp is having beef with Fabinho. If you look at the body languages of Fabinho and Van Dijk, they are tired of covering a lot of space for that young boy. But the club is insistent on playing the boy. So I think it's high time he left the club for another person to come in. We have fantastic coaches out there. Tuchel is there. And then I don't know if Zidane would like to come to Liverpool. It's impossible. We have the material for Tuchel to work with. If he wants to go with this normal 3-4-3, we have the materials on ground. Imagine playing someone like Kanute, Matip, and Van Dijk. Then you have Arnold and Robertson running the flanks, and then Fabinho and probably Henderson or Thiago. That system can work in Liverpool with a new coach. I think Klopp has run out of ideas. He's someone who is so good at 4-3-3 and nothing else. He has tried 4-4-2. It did not work. The last game he tried a diamond. You can't play a diamond with a liability like Elliot and even Fabinho. If you look at the team, this boy was even running all the way from attack. Nunes was running all the way from attack to defend, which is not supposed to be so. So I think it's high time we tried a new coach for me.
Okay. Any, what do you think?
I'm sorry, but that's one of the most horrible takes I've ever heard about Klopp and needing a change. This is not a personal attack on you, Mr. Jimmy, but
You don't even know the right words to use.
I'm trying to pick I'm trying to pick my words right. I don't want to sound arrogant, and I don't want to sound I want to be serious, but I don't want to sound rude. So I'm trying to pick my words carefully. I don't think our problem is Klopp. I've never thought our problem is Klopp. There is not one manager out there, no matter how good they are, that gets it right 100% of the time. When you think about tactics and what you want from certain players, when they look at us, they look at City as an example of what a team should be and what a manager should be. As good as they are, I can count on many times on my hand that Pep has gotten it wrong and it cost them massively. Nobody talks about that. Many times in the Champions League final against Chelsea, he got it wrong with his substitution and his starting lineup. And against what was that? That Spurs that knocked them out. He started Fernandinho as a right back, I think, or a center. He started Fernandinho and then he took him out at halftime. Or he put something of that nature. Fernandinho should have started, actually. He didn't play Fernandinho at all in that defensive mid. There was a game that he sat Kevin De Bruyne There's been examples where Pep has constantly gotten it wrong, and they have the best team, right? They have arguably the best team in the world, and Pep, the manager, has gotten it wrong many times that it cost them massive games. Against the game they play against us, some people are even saying that he shouldn't have played the formation he did. So and so should have started, blah 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 blah. But I'm saying that to say that he has all these best players in the world at his disposal, but he gets it wrong, which means any manager can get it wrong. I'm not here to defend Klopp. He's gotten it wrong, but it's not because of what he doesn't have. It's not because of what he has. It's because of what he doesn't have. So if we get rid of Klopp, like you said, and we bring in Tuchel, like you said, do you know the history that Tuchel has had with the teams that he had previously coached, aside from Chelsea, where he gets to pick and choose? I mean, they spent $300 million before he got fired. I'm trying to not be too sentimental about it. Harvey shouldn't be playing as much as he has, but that doesn't make him a useless player. He's 19 years old, but that's because we don't have a lot of players that are available. We went into the season with 9 midfielders. 9. And we're barely getting 4 right now. That's not on the manager. He has to work with what he has. We know what we have in our possession. We know what we don't have, and we know what we have to do to get through this period. One of the reasons why I said that was one of the worst take I've had is because you're using examples that if those players were not there, we could still have that same situation. If whatever it is that whoever the best midfielder or whatever that's playing Harvey's position, we could still have the same problem. The problem doesn't go away because of a certain player that we have. It happens when other parts are not doing what they're supposed to do. Fabinho has not been playing for the past 2 seasons. I mean, his level has dropped massively. So he's not covering for anyone. His level has dropped. When we play with Milner, when we play with Henderson, and we play with Thiago and those players, he doesn't have to do much because they tend to Henderson and Milner tends to cover a lot more ground. They don't have the pace, but they cover a lot of ground if you look at the statistics. So Fabinho has dropped form. The confidence level around the team, the entire player, all of them, the confidence level has massively dropped. That affects performance. So pinning that on the manager and pinning that on Elliot is not fair. The problem goes deeper than that, and we need to address that from the roots, not scapegoat one player. As far as I'm concerned, Elliot is a massive player for us. Elliot has done a lot of good things, more than Keita would have done if he was still playing. I mean, the best ability is availability. If you're not available, what are you useful for? Elliot is available. He's doing the best as he can. We can't blame the manager and the player and put all the problems on the team.
I want to address 3 things. You mentioned the blame not being on the coach. Why is it that anytime Liverpool wins, okay, club is fantastic?
It's not. That's a layman's way of looking at football. You can't because of a
then
team.
He should take responsibility.
No. I'm not saying it's absolved. I'm not saying it's absolved.
Performance of the team. That is the simple truth.
Are you talking about the excuses he's always coming up with?
I'm coming. The manager should take responsibility of how the team plays or the results. That is why he is the manager. About the issue of Fabinho, okay, he has dropped from last season, not 2 years ago. From last season, he has dropped. But is it coincidental that, okay, against the 3 big teams we've played, it was the only game that Fabinho started that we won? You can't drop your defensive midfielder against Manchester United. You cannot drop your defensive midfielder against Arsenal, an informed Arsenal. Those are the mistakes Klopp made. Then about the issue of fixing the team and having injury before the start of the season, we had our team complete. The start of the season against Fulham. What was Firmino doing in the squad? Why did we have Firmino? Why did we have Firmino start the game? That was when our confidence dropped. That was where this problem started. He was very poor, extremely poor against Fulham until Nunes came on and gave us that bite in front. A promoted side, we couldn't do anything against Fulham. Firmino played, I think, over 60 minutes without a shot off target, not on target. Whereas Nunes came in under 10 minutes, he had 4 shots. Go and check.
Okay.
You can't drop 85 million pounds player that was so good against Man City in the Community Shield when you are supposed to play and give him the confidence. That is the first mistake Klopp made. And he had a very negative effect on us against Fulham. It was Nunes that rescued us against Fulham. Then the second game, what happened? He played Elliot and Milner in midfield, putting Henderson on the bench. Who does that? Elliot and Milner. The next game against Manchester United, he dropped Fabinho. Now played Elliot and Milner again. Even the worst team in the Premier League can't have that kind of midfield.
But don't you think he was trying to try out different formations and
what different formation? You were so good against Man City in the Community Shield, and then you started that nonsense against Fulham. Your first game of the season matters. That is where you build on confidence. You can't draw 2-2 against a team like Fulham, and then you think the boys will be happy and relaxed. And then you repeated you started a very poor setup against Crystal Palace at home. The next game, like you drop Henderson, drop Keita that was available to play Fabinho, Milner, and Elliot. I'm telling you the origin of this problem. Every team, let me tell you, whether you are the best team or not, if confidence level in the team drops, there's nothing you can do about it. Even if you have the best players in the team, once the confidence drops, you know we are always being compared with Man City. Whatever they do, we are expected to do the same thing. Forget about the financial whatever. I'm talking about the team. I'm talking about the team. You can't play Milner and Elliot in the same team. How? And that pair has never worked, but Klopp continue using it. You talk about Pep making mistakes. Yes, Pep is known for making mistakes, especially in the Champions League, and I count that as pressure on him to deliver the Champions League. But that is not an excuse for Pep. But if you won't see Pep repeating the same mistake like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Klopp works on sentiment and stubbornness. That is his own down. He's a fantastic manager, but he works on sentiment and stubbornness. Those two are his undoing. For instance, you won't see Klopp making a sub and that sub doesn't work and he withdraws the sub. He can never. That sub must continue to play till the end of the game, which is not done. Take, for instance, the Champions League final against Real Madrid. How will you even bring an unfit Lallana in for your superstar who has been injured? And then the guy went in there, played absolute nonsense, and you allow him to finish the game, and you allow him to continue. Mourinho won't do that. Pep won't do that. When once you go in there and you play nonsense, you are out. That is why I can quote many instances that Klopp has worked on sentiment. Games that he would have won and given us more trophies. He built a fantastic team, a team that has underachieved. People will say, okay, he has done this, he has won 7 trophies and whatever. No, that team has underachieved. They are supposed to win. No, if Klopp was a little bit tactical. I'm counting Klopp's mistakes.
Can I ask you a question?
If the mistakes are repetitive, it means there is something wrong. And Klopp should take the blame for that. This is not being sentimental or okay, I like the coach or whatever. He has done this for the club and whatever. No. I'm talking about taking responsibility. All these are on Klopp. There's a reason why Chelsea have been, aside City, have been the most successful club in England in the past 20 years. They take decisions. Even if you are the best coach, he won't stay there forever. Klopp cannot stay in Liverpool forever. One day he will leave. Some hard decisions has to be taken for a team to progress or for an individual to progress. That's my take on Klopp. No, I know you guys love Klopp, but it's the
And I know
simple
you're
truth I'm
actually
telling you.
anti-club, you know.
Hmm? Forget about being
And
anti
I
or
just tell
anti-Klopp.
you,
No, no, no. I like being critical. You understand? People who are critics, who are critical of situation, are not always in line with others. That is the simple truth. I'm just being critical of Klopp. I'm not saying he's not when people talk about okay, he has done this for Liverpool, they forget that Liverpool has given Klopp money, support, and full support. No coach in Liverpool's history since I started being a Liverpool fan 2002. No coach in Liverpool history has enjoyed what Klopp has enjoyed in Liverpool. None. 4.5 years before you deliver a trophy and you are being given money. You are breaking transfer records. Not just buying players, you are breaking transfer records. Ha! We have
well,
Benitez who was
if
just
you
on
ask me, I
20
don't I
million
don't
pound
think just
budget.
just Klopp is to be blamed. Klopp, the players, even FSG should share, part of the blame,
My
not
dear,
just putting it
my
all
dear,
on Klopp.
my dear, Klopp is the captain of the, as in is the sole captain of the team. Whatever, when it was glory, you gave him the glory, isn't it? Did we remember FSG? Let me tell, when people bring this FSG angle into the discussion, I always laugh at it. FSG, number one, save us from administration. Whether it is loan or whatever, they saved Liverpool from administration. You understand? Then they gave Klopp full hands on the team. Whether it's on a budget or not, I don't want to know, because he has never come out to say he's on budget. He's always telling us he's happy with the team. He's happy with the team. If I am a businessman, you can't compare our owners with City's owners that have unlimited funds somewhere that they can pump into the team and then do whatever they like. Everything is on a budget. Everything. You understand? Whether it is
So,
City or
so, so
whatever,
how about
everything is on
how
a
about
budget.
the players that have been underperforming,
I'm,
making errors,
I'm, I'm coming. I will come to the players. We start from the head first before we get to the players. You understand? You have Chamberlain. For 3 years now, he has not performed. He's 120 million pounds, 120,000 pounds a week. You have Keita. You understand? I'm coming. Oh. Then you have Firmino. Firmino has underperformed for the past 3 years plus. For someone in Liverpool who is on 180,000 pounds a week, he's underperformed. You understand? I can analyze Firmino's game. The only season that Firmino was fantastic was 2017-18 season, when he was pressing and he was giving the assist. He was all over the pitch. That is not the Firmino we have in the past 3 years. I'm coming. These three players, you can add Milner is supposed to be there as a leader. Why can't you sell these three players, or at least Keita and Ox, then buy players? There is no successful team in the whole world, check, that doesn't have a good midfield. That is what is affecting us today. You can't put Elliot in the midfield and say, okay, we'll play. The boy that keeps falling off on the pitch and then giving balls away. Take time and watch Elliot's game. Eh? A midfielder is not supposed to give away ball like he does. Our game, any team, the game is based on midfield. If you have the right midfielders, energetic, strong, and can deliver for the team, in fact, you are almost done with getting trophy in a season. But we don't have that now. We are playing Fabinho and then Elliot. Elliot is putting the work on the midfield, and you expect us to succeed. We cannot. So at least you put this on Klopp. He's the one sitting there, he's watching this. You are seeing this boy playing nonsense, and you are still allowing him to play. He will play for 90 minutes. What does he offer the team? Nothing.
we've heard your attacks against Klopp.
It's not attack.
Any,
It's my analysis. Before you make
any, your best player was
called out.
brought under the knife.
It's okay. I mean, everyone is entitled to how they feel. I'm not gonna fault Jimmy for feeling the way he does. It's not. He's not wrong. It might be a little bit extreme, but he's not wrong. And the only thing I'm going to say is when the manager is getting it wrong, like he said, like Klopp has been getting it wrong, We refuse to see everything else that goes on the field. But when the manager is getting it right, it doesn't matter what goes on the field. It's all because the manager got it right. I'm not going to argue against anyone that say Elliot is a terrible player. I'm not going to argue against that. I'm just going to leave that alone.
I don't say he's a terrible player. He's an average player who is not supposed to start for us.
Okay, that's fine.
He's not yet ready.
Okay, if you say so. What I'm going to say is the manager knows what he saw. The manager knows what he's saying. We're not on the practice field. We don't know what happens in training. But if anyone can see Elliot's game and say he's average, and it doesn't fit the Liverpool team, I can't argue against that. That's their opinion. I think the kid is amazing. Our problem is not Elliot. Our problem is not Fabinho. Our problem is not.
It's not Klopp.
Our problem goes deeper than Klopp. Our problem is not what Klopp doesn't do or what he does or who he plays or who he doesn't play. I am not judging this team because of what we have. I'm judging this team because of what we don't have currently in the midfield. If we have the full capability of what we have on the bench or whoever's out injured, if we have what we don't have available, if we have them available, then we'll be able to see where Henderson, Milner, Elliot, and co are going to play. But until then, you have to make do with what you have. If you take Elliot out of the game right now, who do you bring in?
When you have Henderson, Fabinho, and Keita fit, why should Elliot be starting game? I'm sorry, Thiago. I don't mean Keita.
Thiago is not fit. Thiago cannot play every game.
He was fit last match. All of them were fit
Thiago
last match.
has played 3 games all season.
I know.
And you're waiting for a Henderson, a Thiago, and a Fabinho to play every time?
My point is, you can't play Elliot when you have your 3 main midfielders fit for a game. And
but they weren't.
For points.
But they haven't been.
They were fit.
When?
We had Henderson, Thiago, and Fabinho fit for last game. The game against City and the Arsenal game. Thiago, Fabinho, and Henderson were fully fit last game, but Henderson was on the bench for Elliot to start. Why?
Okay, Henderson had a knock the game at the Champions League game we played. He couldn't have started. Thiago just came off of an ear infection. He couldn't have played.
Well, if I say something, sometimes I think even when the 3 of them are fit, Klopp does not really like starting the 3, even when they are fit. I think I've also observed that as well.
The 3 midfielders that you just mentioned
played
the most minutes when they were healthy together. I've looked into this.
It is frustrating.
They played the most. I don't know why you guys don't.
Your senior player fit, and you are playing Elliot in the midfield. When you are looking for points, it is frustrating. If you watch it and it is not frustrating, there's nothing I can say about that. But it is frustrating that you have your 3 midfielders, your 3 best midfielders fit, and you are dropping one of them on the bench for Elliot to start. He did the same thing against.
Elliot is not as
Manchester United.
Why Elliot is not as
Jimmy, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How many times this season has Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago been fit together? How many times this season that you know of?
Manchester United game, the last game, and then I think the Arsenal game.
So 3 times out of 16 games that we've played so far, we have our best 3 midfielders.
I'm talking about league games. I'm talking about league games. 12 games we played in the league.
Okay, so 3 times out of 12 games.
They were our best midfielders now.
Yeah, they were our best midfield. They were our best midfield.
To all the fronts.
They were our best midfielders. They were our best midfielders, right?
You can't bring Elliot in. That is the simple truth. I would even prefer. Listen, our game is based on pressing.
That's not the. I'm trying to get you, Jimmy. I'm trying to get you somewhere. Forget Elliot for a second. I already said it many times already today that Elliot shouldn't be playing as much as he's been playing. I've said that, right? So last season,
to get near the team. He's not supposed to get near the team. except something happens. That is the simple truth. Okay, let me ask you a question. Blessing, you are laughing.
So,
Let me
so
ask
when
you a
I
question.
said earlier
What
that
does
I don't want
no
to
no
get
wait
into
wait wait
this, you said
no
that
wait wait
I should, and I am
blessing
now. You're still not
blessing
open-minded
no
enough to even
no no
have a
no
discussion about
I
it.
want to ask
So,
you've been asking me a question. I want to ask a question.
no,
Blessing,
you're not answering the
what does
question though.
Elliot
And
offer to the
let's not
team?
fight ourselves.
Just
We're
tell me.
supposed to be on the same
Just tell
side.
me one
So
thing. No, just tell me one thing Elliot offers to the team. Just one. No. It's just a simple question. A
we
simple
don't
and
have.
sincere question. What
If
does
you
Elliot offer to the team?
if I have to answer
One
that
thing
question, that
Elliot
means
offers to the team.
if I have to answer that question, that means you haven't been watching. You just watch for goals and you haven't been watching for impact.
I
And
agree. I agree. Then tell me what he offers to the team. Just one thing Elliot offers to the team. He's an
again,
attacking
if you have been
midfielder
watching,
or
you shouldn't have to
central
ask me
attacking
that.
midfielder.
My opinion about Elliot that we don't have any direct midfielder between those three. We don't have any direct midfielders. We don't have anyone that works as hard as he has been in the past few games. Go and watch the game against City. Him,
Work as hard.
Milner played right back, right? Against City. Trent did not play. Milner played right back. And Elliot was right there on the right side. Go watch that game again. Go see the kind of work rate that he put in. Go see the kind of work rate that he has put in. Obviously, is not a Kevin De Bruyne, is not a Thiago, but for a 19-year-old, it does what it needs to do. We can't say that
And what is that?
we're not
And what is
managers.
that?
We're all fans here, right? We can't say that Klopp got it wrong for playing this kid as much as he does. We don't know what he saw, but what I can see is the productivity that the guy is put it in, the tackles that he gets in, the dribbles that he
Productivity.
gets in, the directness that he has more than any of those two players that he plays alongside of. I heard a lot of people that say Curtis Jones should be nowhere near that team, but when he plays, he chips in. When Elliot is playing right now, obviously the entire team is not where they're supposed to be, but he's chipping in. So if you take him out now, who comes in? And that's a legit question. And you're saying, oh, Thiago, Fabinho, and Henderson, they're there, they're healthy. They haven't been. Go look at the numbers just this season alone. If you're saying that, oh, Elliot shouldn't play, Curtis just came back. Keita is not available. Ox is not available. Who is going to play?
Okay, good question. Must we stick to 4-4-3-3 and 4-4-2? There is 3-4-3.
We haven't
There is
played four
three
three
four.
three in about 3 weeks.
The way we play our 4-4-2 is as good as playing 4-3-3. Go and watch it technically. It was even the last game that we played more like a diamond. We started like a diamond before we dropped to 4-4-2. And technically, the setup is as good as 4-3-3.
What was the
Technically.
you can't say technically when you have the personnel there that plays what the manager puts out there. There was a time when you were saying that 4-4-2, but technically it's 4-3-3. Salah and Nunez were up front most of the time that we play 4-4-2.
That's what I'm saying now. That was the diamond they started with against this last game against Leeds. They started with that.
Okay.
A
But
diamond
you can't say
4-4-2.
technically you can't say technically that's 4-3-3 because of the way we
Why
play.
I'm
When
saying
you're off,
technically because as the game advanced, the approach changed to their normal 4-3-3. You were seeing Elliot in the midfield and then Salah dropping to the flank, Nunes dropping to the left wing. That was why he was
that's not
even chasing the ball. Huh?
that's actually that ends up being a 4-1-4-1 in when we don't have the ball actually, because when we have the ball it's 4-4-2 or 4-1-2 4-2-4-2-3-1 diamond, and when we don't have the ball those two wingers drop in.
4-1-2-1, 2-1-2.
So I coach. So I watch the game more from an analytical and tactical point of view. If I see how the team is set up, sure, if they're not working hard enough, it's going to look like they're not doing what they're supposed to do, which is where we are. The team is not working hard enough as we used to. We don't press hard enough. We don't push up hard enough. And when we do and we lose the ball, there is no team in this world that won't be able to play that ball behind you or play between the spaces that you leave alone. That's not a personnel issue. That's a team issue. That doesn't depend on one player. That's a team issue. If I mean, how many times has Van Dijk been caught out in the open? It's not because he's covering for anybody else. It's just because he's not working hard enough to get back. It's been changing. It's actually changed that in the last few games, especially since after the City game, where you can actually tell that this guy is getting involved now. I don't know. Maybe it's because nobody wants to get injured for the World Cup. I'm not sure. But the level of performance from everybody has dropped. When they press, they jog. When we recover, they jog. Unlike before, when we lose the ball, everybody is running to get it back. When we're trying to cover up spaces, everybody is running to that cover space to cover it back. You can't put that on one player, and you can't put that on the manager. All these players have to step up and recognize that this is also their fault. This is their responsibility as well, to put in the kind of work that's brought them so many success. The level of work is what we have suffered from, not the personnel. The people that are playing, if you have people that are hungry enough to play, even if they're £5 million, £100 million, if they're hungry enough to play for the club, they will do the work. These players are not doing the work. I've watched them just jog back. The example you gave about Nunez running from the front, yeah, he's not supposed to, but why? Anderson was jogging back. Milner, Fabinho, all these players that you mentioned, they were jogging back. Go watch it again. They were literally jogging back. Nunez ran all the way back and covered that ball. So if the midfield are not working as hard as they can, that's not on Klopp. If the midfield are not doing what they're supposed to do, that's not on Klopp. Blaming Klopp for playing certain players and not playing certain players, that's not the issue.
Do you know how many times? You said it's not about the players. Do you know how many times Elliot lost the ball last match?
Go Elliot.
And he fell on the pitch like, huh?
Elliot or Curtis Jones. Because I think you're getting them confused. Elliot played a good game last game. The last few games that Elliot has played.
I'm talking about Elliot. Do you know how many times he lost the ball last match?
Can we leave this Elliot?
Okay. So
I don't want
to
and if you remember earlier, I said anyone that's going to say that, I'm not going to argue against it because they don't see what other people see, and that's fine. That's if it's the weak link according to you, fine.
That's playing Elliot. We'll win the Champions League with Elliot.
We won't. Okay. I understand the sarcasm. We won't, but he's doing the best that he can. He's chipping in. Like you said, all those guys came in and chipping last year and earlier this season. He's chipping in until we can get whatever it is that we're waiting for. Jota and Diaz and all of that. If those guys come back and we can actually judge this team based on who is available, then we can move on from there. But for right now, we just have to weather the storm. Just like any sports team, you go through this period. There is no team in this world that goes 5 years the way we've gone the last 5 years and are able to keep it up. It's not possible. It's not. You have to hit a wall at some point. And when you hit a wall and you throw away the last 5 years, then maybe you should reassess what it means to be a fan, because you can't just, when you have a bee in your house that is stinging everybody, you're not going to burn down your house. You figure out a way to kill that bee. We have a bee in our house right now in terms of everybody is not healthy. Of course, you're going to change things. Of course, things are going to move around. But until everyone is back, I'm not going to judge anybody. Yeah, of course, everybody makes mistakes. Klopp has gotten it wrong a few times. But what I have seen that I know that we need to fix right away is the effort from these players. They are not trying hard enough. You can't tell me that Nunez can sprint from up front all the way to the back. Before Fabinho, Henderson, and whoever, I think it was Milner, I don't remember. They were jogging back. They were literally jogging back. So you can't tell me that that's not effort. That's effort. You need to be able to run back. Nunez should not be beating anybody. And I've seen that. Look at Trent sometimes. He just looks and watch the play develop around him. Gomez has, sure, he hasn't hit form yet, but Van Dijk has looked and watched the play develop around him. He just stands. Effort is not there anymore. If you can fix that right now, it doesn't matter who you have on the field. It doesn't if you have Connor Bradley or academy boys on the field. It doesn't matter if the effort is there. There will be significant. There's no effort, and you can't put that on the manager. So if we're going to look beyond the players and put it all on the manager, what if you bring all new players and everybody, and the effort is still not there? Who are you going to blame then? Or we fire the manager right now, bring in a new manager, and these same players are still playing the same thing. Then who do you blame? We can't do better than Klopp. I don't know about Tuchel and whoever it is, Zidane. We can't do better than Klopp, and that's the fact. We can't do better than him right now. And there's no one you can bring in that can do what he has done.
Why do you think so?
We okay.
Why do you think
Tell me what resume Zidane has with teams that he has to build. He did not build one team. Not one team did he build. The team that he won the Champions League with Ronaldo and co, they were set. They had Cruz, they had Modric, they had Ronaldo, they were good. He barely did any kind of managing. Who did Tuchel manage?
Exactly.
Who did Tuchel build?
They had issues winning. Did they win the trophies the way he won it? Those players were there, but did they win the trophies? Did they win the
He's a good
trophies?
manager, but he had everything at his disposal. That's the difference. He had everything at his disposal. Is the tactic we do not.
You think
we don't.
We don't. No, you can't say that.
We don't.
We don't have the.
You know why I say we don't? Because we're not healthy.
United.